Hello, welcome, merry meet. We are two friends, Med,
And Emma.
revisiting our love for all things witchy, magical, and paranormal.
This podcast is us feeling our way through exploring all the possibilities, and we'd like to invite you along for the journey.
Welcome back, witchy wanderers. Today we celebrate Ostara, a time of renewal, balance, and awakening. We'll explore the divine feminine, how Ostara reflects it, and how we honour this season's energy. Then we'll meet the moon goddess, Hecate, Selene, Artemis, Luna, and Isis, and discover not just who they are, but how to honour and work with them. And we'll be talking about Lilith too. We'll talk rituals to awaken our feminine empowerment. But before we dive into all of these, let's have a catch up. So, Med, what have you been up to?
Hello, what have I been up to? I feel like I'm a bit of a kind of, what's it called when you repeat yourself? Broken record, that's the word. Um, I think the last 3 episodes, including this one, I've pretty much been up to the same thing. So I am planning travels. That is kind of my word of the year is travel, adventure, actually. That's my word of the year. And I need to make my stone. You made the flow one. I think I'm going to make adventure my word.
Oh, yeah,
That's
definitely.
kind of my pledge to myself for this year is that I am going to have adventure. So that has been the theme. And the way I've been embracing that is I've been, rather than just talking about doing these things with people, I've been planning them, booking them, doing them. So I've got a whole road trip planned with one of my friends. We've booked it all. It's all sorted. I'll be doing that in May. And then I have another road trip planned with some other of my friends, and we're in the booking stages of that. I'm hoping that myself and Emma will have some Which Way Next road trips again. So that's great. I think I said last month me and my daughter booked Venice for later in the year. So I've got lots of adventures. Also, me and my son went to Phantom Peak this month, which I've been wanting to go to for about a year or so. Probably longer than that, actually. And they're moving venues, so I quickly fit it in, and it was great. So it's like this place where, obviously, I've talked before on here about how I'm a gamer. Me and Emma actually met on VR, and it's like being part of a real life game and going on quests. And it's this like whole village that's like a set, and it's got like actors that are like the NPC characters, and they're giving you quests and things like that. So we had our first out into there, and that was awesome. So that was like a whole mini adventure, 4 hours long, and I enjoyed that. And then on the flip side of that, I've been trying to make sure I enjoy my time at home more by making it feel more like my home. I've talked about this again in previous episodes. I'm doing little bits in different areas. I'm still doing that. It's starting to really take shape now, and people are noticing like areas in my house when they come round and stuff, which is really nice, and complimenting how it's coming together. And my garden as well. So I think until like a week or so ago, every day since 2026 started had rained in the UK.
Yes, it did.
And then suddenly, last week, I think it was Tuesday, or was it this week? I've lost track. But anyway, it was just the most beautiful day. I just woke up and like it was like, in a fairy tale when you wake up and you open the window and you're like, ah.
Did you do that? I
I
really
did.
hope
I
you
always
did.
do. That's how I wake up in the morning.
A load of pigeons flying.
Yeah, we don't have like really nice birds
Bluebirds.
around here, so it's the pigeons. Well, the seagulls were quite near the sea. So yeah, I woke up, it was beautifully sunny, and I was just like to my husband, let's seize the day, let's start the garden. I didn't think I'd be starting it till April. And for once, he was just like, yeah, let's do it. Usually I have to like tell him for months. And so we like spent our whole day out in the garden and really like cleared it, and it's really looking so much better. It looks like we kind of have a garden now. And I'm so happy because it's just been sitting there from last year. I think I spoke about it last year when we were doing it up, but mm, a lot of stuff has just been sitting there since last year, just where the weather went and we had to give up for the year. So it really felt like a release since we've done that. And every time I kind of look in the garden, I'm like, yes, it's taking shape. So I'm very happy about that. So yeah, it's all the same stuff, but it's moving on. It's all the word of the month. It's all awakening. It's like we
Awakening.
planted all
Yeah.
those seeds. We had the intention in January. All the signs and synchronicities have synced in February. And now we're in March and it's all awakening and I'm starting to see it all spring to life. So I'm very happy.
That's
A quick sidetrack before I stop talking, because I don't want to take up too much time because I do go on, is also I've had a lot of stuff. It's like, because we talked about synchronicities and signs, they're now everywhere. They're
yes.
like, it's been like the theme, like people that don't usually talk to me about this stuff and don't listen to the podcast because they're my friends, but they're not witchy inclined. They've been coming to me and saying, "Oh, it's really weird you've said that because like I was thinking that too," and stuff like that. And I'm like, synchronicity to everyone. I'm like, we talked about that in our last episode. If you listened, you'd know. So that's been happening a lot, and similar with my daughter. So I was just telling Emma before we started recording. She doesn't listen to our podcast, but we've been having the same dreams for the past week or so, and I only found that out this morning. So I'd already been telling Emma about my dreams, and actually, there's some similarities between my dreams and yours because we think they're linked to the spider grandmother. And then today, my daughter came to me and said she's been having this dream last week, which is when I had it, and last night I also had a similar one as well. So it's been all around spiders on the walls in our house. And then last night she again dreamt of spiders on the walls in our house, and I dreamt of some weird, fuzzy, round, red and black bugs that were kind of like bumblebees, I guess. That's the only thing I can like them to, but they weren't really like them. And they were kind of all around this room and they kept coming in waves. And because my hair was down and really curly and big, they kept getting tangled in it and therefore stinging my head. So yeah, again, synchronicities, but also some more things to work out in terms of what the dreams meant and stuff. So that has been my month in a nutshell. Take from it what you will. How has your month been, Emma?
It's been good. I'd love to say that my garden was starting to look a bit nicer, but it still looks like a swamp where the dogs have been running up and down and we have very little grass left. But I've been really enjoying being outside. I mean, I always enjoy being outside, but the rain makes it more difficult sometimes. So in those dry moments, I've been getting outside and noticing all the spring flowers coming through. The blackthorns are in flower. We've got daffodils and crocuses and just everything's coming through and it really does feel like new beginnings and I think it's really good to notice all of that stuff. I will do some gardening. I need to do some decluttering. Get down the tip as well, but that's for another day. I've been trying to be independent because, I mean, with my anxieties and stuff, I find going to like social situations and things by myself quite difficult. But I go to brush parties. It's a thing where you go along, you get to paint a picture that you're instructed how to do at a pub and have a drink and everything. And I booked on one by myself and I went along to that and I absolutely loved it. It was really it feels quite empowering when you go to something on your own, not with other people. Normally I have the safety of a friend with me when I do things like that, but I went by myself. It was at a place that's quite familiar to me and yeah, produced a painting that I'm really proud of. And I think it's always good to be creative, even if I find it difficult being creative, but having someone there that can help direct that a little bit. It's that sort of nurturing side of it, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was fun. Going back to our last episode, talking about synchronicities again. I am currently wearing this dress. Now you can't see it. It's a popsy dress, of course, because they are amazing. It felt really like I had to have this dress. It was so I'm really into a band called Calandra. They're my absolute favourite at the moment, and every opportunity I'm listening to them. And this dress that came up was called Calandra, slightly different spelling. And I was like, oh, that's funny. This is a word that I'd never come across before, and it's suddenly on a dress that I really liked, and everything about the dress was just me. It was covered in swans, which when I was younger, I was absolutely obsessed with. Everything I had to have swans on it. I had swan ornaments. So it's covered in swans, it's got butterflies, it's got dragonflies, it's got moons on it and flowers, and it's like everything that is me that I love. So it felt like it was meant to be. There was too many coincidences there. I feel like Popsy literally go and look at me and they're like, oh, she likes this and this and this and this. Let's make a dress. It feels special. It's not. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't do it like that, but it makes it feel special. So, yeah, and then otherwise, I've just been kind of pottering around, doing as little as possible. Oh, and another thing, when we were planning this episode, I drew one of my goddess cards, and it was Melissa, and on the card it says, I embrace the divine feminine power within me. So, how perfect was that?
Yeah, that was brilliant. So you literally drew that when we were on a planning Zoom, and it couldn't have been more in tune, in sync with what we were talking about at the time. So you'll definitely have to share that as well. Now let's delve into this month's theme. We'll begin with Ostara, the celebration of spring's balance, fertility, and rebirth. And as we honour Ostara, we reflect on growth, both in nature and within. And this is where empowerment comes in. Ostara is about awakening potential, just like the divine feminine and the goddesses will meet. So we'll start with Ostara's energy, and from there, we'll explore how these goddesses and your own inner goddess can guide you.
Ostara is the spring equinox, a time of day and night in perfect balance. In the northern hemisphere, we celebrate it between the 20th and the 23rd of March, and in the southern hemisphere, it's between the 20th and the 23rd of September. It's a celebration of rebirth, of Earth waking up, and it's full of symbolism, fertility, growth, and renewal. So, how can we honour Ostara? Firstly, we can do altar decorations. So you can do things like using symbols like eggs, maybe paint an egg and put that on your altar, and that symbolises new life. You could use yellow candles, which are for joy and creativity, or you could place spring flowers like daffodils and primroses on your altar. If you want to do a ritual, you could do a rain ritual. So you just stand out in the spring rain, and that can symbolize the cleansing and new beginnings. Another thing you could do is planting seeds. So you could plant some herbs and then use those to affirm your intentions for growth.
So I've run workshops in the past that were kind of centered around that. So I did a vision and growth workshop where we made our own vision boards, but we also decorated a plant pot ready for planting our seeds of growth as well. So that's something you could also do if you wanted to bring in kind of your creative side into it, which is also linked with Ostara, bringing out all your creativity, is you could decorate your own plant pot and go that extra way. And you can write like your affirmations and your runes and things like that on the plant pot. Other ways you can honor Ostara is, like Emma said, using colour. So the colour yellow is linked with Ostara because obviously it's linked to the sun. The sun's coming back in. And you can see that reflected over kind of other religions. For instance, Christianity with Easter, which is linked to Ostara, they use a lot of yellow and the eggs. So that makes it quite easy to buy these kind of elements in shops as well if you don't want to create everything yourself. Yellow is a great colour to bring into your space for Ostara because it's bright, hopeful, and it symbolises the rising sun. You can incorporate water in other ways. So you could use a small bowl of rainwater for blessings, or you could use your time in the shower as a ritual and use that for visualization. And also, it's a great time to connect with nature. I mean, when isn't? So step outside, have your feet barefoot on the ground, do some grounding, take a nice walk through your garden or beyond and feel the earth awakening. Try to connect with the earth around you. Notice the changes that we're seeing in spring. Another thing you can do is to create an Ostara charm. So the charm of Ostara represents springtime and the flowers that you can get around that time. Weirdly, it's often made with lavender, but as Emma with her garden knowledge has informed me, that doesn't actually grow around this time of year for us. Another thing it's traditionally made with, though, is rosemary, and that's all year round. So that's a great thing that you can use that's readily available if you want to use things that actually are naturally around you during this time. So you can create your Ostara charm with some fresh sprigs of rosemary tied together with a piece of yellow ribbon. And traditionally, you could also attach a small key. Some people like to add the Oghan symbol of the pine or alim, which is a T shape. And then your Ostara charm can be hung anywhere around the house. It's also ideal for the office as it instills vibrancy and new ideas. And the alim symbol will give your business enterprise a boost of fresh ideas. If you'd like to, while hanging up your Ostara charm, you can say these words: Goddess Ostara, blessed be, bring new ideas to me. Let spring be full of wonder for those close to me, and it harm none, so mote it be.
On the subject of the rosemary that we were talking about, now you can actually, a good ritual to do is to plant some rosemary by your front door and your back door. And it occurred to me that I actually have rosemary growing directly by my front door and directly by my back door. And this was never done intentionally. I wasn't practicing as a witch. It wasn't something I was aware of or anything like that. But instinctively, I placed rosemary plants by my front door and my back door, which is, it feels like I was actually moving in the right direction with being a witch, and I didn't even know it.
It comes to the synchronization again, doesn't it? And it's that inner knowledge, I think. Like, I talk about this a lot on the Woodland Moon Vibes page, is that when you're following your witchy path, you're not learning it, you're remembering it. It's something that was already instilled in you before this lifetime. And I think you already have all of that knowledge in you. You are already a witch. You're just awakening. Oh, brings in the word awakening again. I think you're just awakening that part of yourself. So somewhere inside you, you were already the witch you are. You just, yeah. So you were already doing, because we don't fall onto this path by accident, do we? It's always been part of us. And I think we just awaken parts of it along the way, along the
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to the Ostara thing, I always remember, and I've think we probably talked about it in the first episode that we ever did. And my favourite thing was to do the nature table, and that was always a thing we started around this time of year. And, going out, picking up things that we found. It might be birds' eggs where they'd hatched, and obviously the egg had fallen to the ground. So we'd collect things like that, and sprigs of different flowers that we find. And I was probably the one who kept that table going. But so even back then, I was honouring it and not even knowing what I was doing. Please share with us if you actually do any of these ideas. Send a photo into our social media. We'd love to see it. All your yellow things and beautiful offerings. So you can do that on our Facebook page, our Facebook community, or on our Patreon.
Or you can just comment on our podcast directly. I know you can do that on some of the podcast platforms, if not all of them. And also share with us if you have your own Ostara rituals or things that you do to honour it, or if you feel like there's one that we missed out or it's just your own personal thing. We'd love to hear and learn ourselves too. So as we said earlier, Ostara links beautifully with female empowerment. It's all about fertility, it's all about growth, and we can reflect that not just on the outside but on the inside, inner growth. And so we thought it was a great time to delve into that side of things. So let's talk about the divine feminine. Before we go any deeper into individual goddesses, it feels really important to pause and talk about the divine feminine itself. Because when we talk about goddesses, we're not just talking about stories or symbols. We're talking about an energy that exists within us and around us. One that has been honoured, suppressed, reshaped, and misunderstood over centuries. We live in a world that heavily rewards doing, pushing, achieving, fixing. A world that leans strongly into masculine yang energy. That isn't inherently bad, but when it's out of balance, something gets lost. The divine feminine is about restoring that balance. It's intuitive, it's cyclical, it's creative, it's emotional, it's embodied. And for a long time, those qualities have been dismissed as weak, irrational, or inconvenient.
The divine feminine is not gendered. This episode is not just for women. Every person carries both masculine and feminine energy. The work isn't about rejecting masculinity, it's about honouring both and allowing them to exist in harmony. For men, stepping into feminine energy can look like emotional awareness, intuition, softness, creativity, rest, and presence. It can also look like actively supporting and honouring women, listening, amplifying, and challenging systems that diminish feminine power. That is how patriarchy is dismantled, not by flipping the hierarchy, but by restoring balance.
The divine feminine is the energy of being rather than doing. It's the part of us that feels before it acts, that listens inward, that trusts intuition and bodily wisdom. It shows up in the moon, the ocean, the earth, the seasons. And it shows up in us when we allow ourselves to soften without disappearing. The divine feminine is present when we are wild and untamed, and when we are quiet and still. It holds sensuality, but not just in a sexual sense, sensuality as presence, as being in your body, as experiencing the world through the senses rather than just the mind.
One of the biggest teachings of the divine feminine is learning to feel without being consumed. We live in a culture that often skips over feelings or tries to intellectualize them away. But the divine feminine asks us to slow down and acknowledge what's happening internally. That doesn't mean being ruled by emotion, it means listening to it. Checking before reacting, letting feelings inform us rather than overwhelm us. This is where intuition grows.
The divine feminine is closely connected to yin energy. Yin isn't passive, it's receptive. It's spacious. It's the energy of allowing things to come to you rather than constantly chasing. Learning to rest, learning to sit with yourself, learning to exist without needing to prove your worth. That alone can feel radical in a world obsessed with productivity.
The divine feminine is embodied. We're a very head-led society, often disconnected from the body. But reconnecting with the body is essential to feeling whole. This can look like movement, dance, touch, creativity, or simply paying attention to sensations. It can be as gentle as noticing your breath or as expressive as creative play. Your body holds wisdom. The divine feminine lives there.
So, some of the key qualities in embracing the divine feminine are intuition, trusting your inner voice even when logic doesn't have all the answers yet. Sensuality, being present in your body, finding pleasure in the small everyday experiences of life. Compassion, for others, yes, but especially for yourself. Compassion without self-erasure. Kindness without people-pleasing. Creativity, not just art, but creation in all forms. Ideas, solutions, self-expression, imagination. Forgiveness, not forcing reconciliation, but softening towards yourself, letting go of internal harshness, creating space for rest and peace.
Working with the divine feminine doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be grounding yourself in nature, spending time barefoot on the earth, allowing moments of stillness, journaling, creative expression, listening inward before acting. These practices don't shout, they whisper.
So, being in touch with your divine feminine is very much a form of shadow work. Like we said there, it's often a part of us that we do suppress because we feel like empowering it is not a powerful thing to do. We feel like using our more emotional side is not powerful, but actually there is a really strong power in that. And that's why doing things like the journaling and shadow work and things like that are so important for stepping into your female empowerment. Another way you can do this is affirmations. So we've written a few for you that might be useful. You could write these down. You could say them out loud, say them in your head. You could say them in front of a mirror, which would be really powerful for your self-love. So these are some of them. I honour both my softness and my strength. My intuition is wise and I trust it. I am allowed to rest without guilt. I am whole exactly as I am. Balance is something I create, not something I chase. So this is something we practice daily over on our Patreon. So we have a daily affirmation each morning on our Patreon, and we also have a monthly journaling page at the beginning of each month that's in keeping with the theme of the podcast and the general cycle of the seasons. So these are things that you can join in with us over on Patreon if you want to come and see us there.
The goddesses we talk about, Lilith included, are not separate from this conversation. They embody these energies, they reflect them, they remind us what happens when feminine power is honoured and what happens when it's suppressed. As we move into Lilith's story, keep this in mind, because her demonisation didn't happen in isolation. It happened because she held power that refused to be controlled. And that makes her story deeply relevant even now. So, who is the moon goddess? When we talk about the moon goddess, we're talking about a figure who has illuminated human imaginations for millennia. She's a goddess of cycles, of change, and of deep intuition. One of the most revered in that regard is Hecate, a powerful and ancient goddess often associated with the moon phases. Hecate is often seen as the goddess of crossroads, a guide in times of transition. Many who worship her are drawn to her when seeking wisdom at life's thresholds, as she holds the keys to the seen and the unseen. She is a guardian of those walking between worlds, embodying the moon's shifting phases.
The moon's phases, waxing, full, and waning, mirror the triple goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The maiden, like the waxing moon, is new beginnings, curiosity, and potential. The mother, full and luminous, symbolises creativity, fertility, and nurturing. The crone, with the waning moon, is wisdom, release, and endings that lead to beginnings. Moon goddesses are also seen across cultures. Selene, in Greek mythology, is the personification of the moon itself, guiding her chariot across the night sky. Artemis, also Greek, is a lunar goddess of the wild, protector of women and a symbol of independence. Luna, her Roman counterpart, embodies the moon's gentle rhythms, bringing serenity and peace. Isis, from Egyptian lore, is a moon-linked goddess of magic, healing and protection.
So how do we work with the moon goddesses? Working with the moon goddess can be as simple as aligning your practices with the moon phases, setting intentions at the new moon and releasing at the waning. You might offer prayers, meditate under the moonlight, or reflect on what phase of life you're in. By honouring the moon goddess, we honour the rhythm of change within the world and within ourselves.
Another thing that you can do to work with the moon goddess is actually to invoke her. So invoking the moon goddess is more than honouring her, it's inviting her presence. The moon influences tides, emotions, and our internal rhythms. When we invoke her, whether as Hecate, Selene, Artemis, Luna, or Isis, we're asking her to guide us, to amplify our intentions. Invoking her during ritual or meditation can bring clarity, insight, or transformation. You might set an altar with moon-related items, light a silver candle, and speak aloud, inviting her wisdom into your space. In that moment, you're attuning yourself to the moon's cycles and the divine feminine. Why invoke her? To deepen your spiritual connection, to align with life's phases, and to feel that you're moving with the moon's mystery, not against it. But if you do decide to follow this path of invoking the moon goddess, please do your research first. We haven't delved into how to do that on here. It's very important you do it in a safe way and that you are also offering her something in return and allowing her to leave when no longer needed or to stay if that feels right.
So now we move on to Lilith. Lilith's story is layered and often retold. In early myths, she was Adam's equal, unwilling to be subordinate. And because of this defiance, she was demonized, transformed into a seductress or symbol of darkness. But beneath those layers, Lilith is a symbol of autonomy, resistance, and self-sovereignty. So why was she demonized? Throughout history, powerful feminine figures who challenge norms have been rewritten as dangerous. Lilith is a reminder of how women, and anyone embracing feminine power, have been suppressed. It's a pattern that repeats. That's why stepping into your own power and supporting others in theirs is so vital today.
Why work with Lilith? Lilith teaches us to reclaim what's been denied: autonomy, desire, boundaries. She's a guide for shadow work, helping us integrate the parts of ourselves that we've been taught to hide. She's also involved for personal power, empowerment, and embracing full unbridled authenticity. How can we work with Lilith? Working with Lilith often includes creating offerings, such as dark red flowers, wine, or written affirmations. She's linked to the night, to symbols like the owl or snake, reminders of transformation and wisdom. Honouring her can mean invoking her in ritual or simply calling on her energy when you need to stand firm.
So, when we talk about working with powerful feminine figures like Lilith, it's not just about mythology or symbolism. It's also about how those energies show up in our everyday lives and practices. And this is where the season we're in becomes really important because Ostara is all about growth, renewal, and the return of light. It's the moment when the earth itself is waking up again. So it makes sense that a lot of the ways we honor that energy aren't complicated rituals, but small intentional things woven into daily life. Magic doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be in the colors we bring into our space, the way we connect with nature, or the little rituals we create for ourselves as the seasons shift.
So we've come to that time, Emma, to have a little bit of fun. And we're going to play our new game as of last month, Magical Dilemmas.
Yay!
Are you ready?
Of course, I'm ready.
Okay, so here is March's question. Imagine you come across a mysterious book in an ancient library. The book promises to grant you power. You can choose just one permanent magical ability. Power 1 is the power of insight. You can instantly understand people's true intentions. You'll always know when someone is being honest, hiding something, or acting from love or fear. But you can never unknow what you sense, even when it hurts. Power number 2, the power of influence. Your words carry magic. When you speak with intention, people listen, trust, and are moved by what you say. You can inspire change and open doors, but you'll never be sure whether people follow you because of who you are or because of the magic. Power number 3, the power of renewal. Once in your lifetime, you can completely shed your current life and begin again as someone new. New path, new identity, no ties to the past, but everything and everyone you left behind is gone forever. You may choose one power, or you may close the book and walk away. Which do you choose and why?
I don't know if I want any of those. Okay. The third one sounds really sad to me because despite the challenges that I've had in my life, I love the people around me and I definitely wouldn't want to start a new life without them. So I don't think I would choose, well, I definitely wouldn't choose power number 3. Influence people. That kind of, I don't know. That's a difficult one because it's almost like saying that they don't have any power over their own self. And I think one part of me and my belief in witchcraft is that we don't sort of influence someone else's behavior. So I don't like that one. So I'm not choosing those two. Insight. Can you read to me what it said again for the first one?
Of course, you can instantly understand people's true intentions. You always know when someone is being honest, hiding something, or acting from fear or love, but you can never unknow what you sense, even when it hurts.
I think I would go with number 1, insight. I think that my intuition is usually pretty good anyway, and insight, I think that it's not a bad thing to have. And I know, sometimes you don't want to know bad stuff, but ultimately it's probably right that you should. I think, yeah, I'm going with insight.
I know I was muted, but you could probably see I was laughing during your answer because you pretty much mirrored everything I was thinking. I'm going to try and answer it in my own individual way. So I'm going to go backwards as well. The power of renewal. I agree with you. I wouldn't want to lose all the people I know and love. And I think that despite my life being quite a hard one, especially in the early years, I think that it was all still part of my life journey, although I do believe that some of the things I went through, no human being should go through. I also think it made me who I am, and that I have become a powerful person because of it. And am who I am because of my experiences that have shaped me. And as well as loving the people around me, I've also learned to really love myself. And I wouldn't want to be someone else. Although I do believe in reincarnation, so I do think I've been other people and I will be other people. I still think my soul is me. And then the second power, the power of influence, I would hate that. I would absolutely. I do not like influencing other people. Although I do feel like I like to be a positive influence to people, but that's because they want me to be.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and again, with mirroring what you said, I don't partake in what I consider to be dark magic. I don't do anything that influences other people. I wouldn't do a spell that's for somebody else unless they'd ask me to. Even then, I'd rather encourage them to learn it and I would teach them and be with them while they do it themselves. I think that magic for me is a very personal thing. And when I do spell work, it's for me. And other people, if they want spell work done, it's good to help them, teach them, and enable them. But I'd rather they did it for themselves. For instance, I have a friend who asked me to do a fertility spell for her. And rather than doing that, I taught her how to do that for herself. And I sat with her, I talked her through it. I also powered my energy into her doing the spell. And that was a very personal thing, and that's only because she's such a close friend. I wouldn't do that for anybody. So yeah, that's my feelings on that. And I just would feel like I could never trust anyone. I didn't really have any true friends.
Yeah,
I'd feel very alone, I think.
yeah,
And then number one, the power of insight. Again, it mirrors a bit what you said. I feel like I have this power already. I
yeah,
don't feel like I need a book to give it to me. And I do feel like it's a double-edged sword. I'm very empathic. I'm always that person in a friend group where I can see that one of our friend group is not meaning well, has bad intentions, not necessarily a good person. I just get bad energy of them and nobody else can fucking see it. And I have to be quiet, or if it gets to the point where it's ridiculous, I have to speak up. But it's not a pleasant thing. It's not nice to just see through people and know they have bad intentions. But equally, I don't want to be naive in that and think people have good intentions when they don't. And also, that's something that I used to block out when I was younger. And I wanted the empath in me because I could see why people were the way they were. I enabled it and I let them be that way. And I just wanted to help them to get through it. But I've learned that's not a way to be either. So, like I said, it's a power I already have. So I guess I would open that book, but I didn't need the book to begin with. So it wouldn't matter if I opened that book or walked away. I'd still be me and I'd still be exactly the same. I wouldn't change me. Even though I've not wanted that power before, it's still who I am and it's taught me a lot. And it's because of that I don't keep people in my circle and allow people to alter my energy when they shouldn't be. So I'll stick with it.
Before we close, let's take a mindful pause together. Just notice your breath as it is. Notice your body where you are sitting or standing. Notice the sense of being here, right now. Ostara reminds us that growth happens naturally, when the conditions are right. You don't need to push, you don't need to rush. As you move forward from this episode, simply notice where things in your life are beginning to shift or soften, where balance is returning, where something new is quietly taking shape. You don't need to act on it yet, just notice it and carry that awareness with you as you step back into your day.
Thank you for listening to this episode and being part of our journey. To continue the conversation, we invite you to join us on our Facebook group, Which Way Next Community. You'll be asked the questions, what are the names of the hosts? The answer is Med and Emma.
You can also find us on our Facebook page, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. If you want to get in touch to share a listener story, question, or to work with us, our email address is whichwaynext@gmail.com. So I've been Med.
And I've been Emma. Join us next time where we ask the question, which way next?
Shower visualization. What does that mean sitting there visualizing a shower or being in a shower and visualizing something?
It means like when you're in the shower, you turn it into mindfulness time and you can turn that into a ritual where you are in the shower and you're visualizing like this water is cleansing me, and with that cleansing, it depends what you need at the time. With that
You
cleansing,
see how
I'm
literal I
now
take things?
it doesn't mean you're just like, I'm not going to shower today. I'll just visualize that I'm in the shower and that's enough.
Well, in my head, I was like, oh, visualizing a shower as in rain outside that's gentle.